Paragon of Strength. Someone who stands up for those who can't do it themselves. A person who has a moral code and never deviates, even when confronted with impossible odds. So, who was the first person who popped into your head when given that description? I'll give you a minute. For me, it's Superman. Despite his many incarnations, the iconic Superman for me, at least, is the guy who, despite facing universe-ending threats, still has time to get a cat out of a tree. His humanity, despite his godlike power, is what I believe makes Superman so compelling. In his video essay on Rank for Superman, YouTuber Accented Cinema likened Superman to Donnie Yen's Ip Man. For those who don't know, Ip Man is a real person who actually existed. He practices a form of martial arts called Wing Chun and was the mentor of Bruce Lee. The Ip Man quadrilogy is a series of 4 movies documenting and dramatizing the life of Ip Man as he faces countless enemies, but also unseen enemies like war, homelessness, racism, cancer, etc. Ip Man is portrayed by actor Donnie Yen, who you might know best from his role in Star Wars. What makes Donnie Yen's Ip Man so compelling is also what makes Superman so compelling: their humanity. Like Superman, I know ultimately Ip Man is gonna win the fight, obviously with the one famous exception, but these aren't the things I'm watching the movies for. The fights in Ip Man are beautiful to watch, but they're support. They're not what Ip Man is truly fighting against. His enemies are more abstract. Small note, for the purposes of this essay, when I refer to Ip Man or any other person, I'll be referring to them within the Ip Man quadrilogy. Ip Man has many incarnations in media, but he was also a real person who ideally dealt with other real people. So any person I mention in this are their movie incarnations. Earlier I mentioned Ip Man's enemies are more abstract. Well, what did I mean by that? In Ip Man 3, Ip Man gets challenged by a fellow Wing Chun practitioner, as he's become famous for his exploits in the previous movies. The purpose of this fight is to see which version of Wing Chun is superior, and ultimately, to see who's the best fighter. If Ip Man doesn't show up to the fight, not only will he be shamed, but ideally, he'd be seen as chickening out. During this time, however, Ip Man finds out that his wife is diagnosed with cancer. He has a choice to make: go to the fight and defend his title, or spend whatever time left his wife has with her. Ip Man then decides to sign them both up for a dancing class. And in a sequence which genuinely warms my heart, he refuses fight after fight without regard for his honor or his title, and just dances with his wife. In this moment, nothing else but his wife's happiness matters. And I think this choice shows us what the core of Ip Man is. Ip Man doesn't want to have to fight anymore. He just wants to live a good life with his family. He wants to dance the night away with his wife, and he wants his son to get into a good school. He just wants a peaceful life. At this point, you've probably looked at the title and wondered, well, that's cool and all, but who's Master Z? I've been talking about a guy named Ip Man, but there's no way he could be Master Z. Literally none of the letters in his name are Z. Well, you're right. Remember how I said while Ip Man's wife has cancer, he gets challenged by a fellow Wing Chun practitioner? Well, that's Master Z. And he has his own spin-off movie. Eventually, Ip Man does end up fighting Master Z, and he wins the fight without even taking a single hit. Like, it's one of the coldest fights in all of Ip Man. Like, even colder than when Ip Man gets turned into a prisoner of war in the middle of the Sino-Japanese War. Needless to say, Master Z's entire reputation after this debacle is absolutely shattered. Master Z, with his reputation gone and his school shut down, decides to move away and contemplate his life in Atkins up until this point. Start a new life where no one knows his name or the shame he bears. Master Z wants to put everything behind him and just live for his son. He starts a grocery store on the bottom floor of his new house and decides to live a quiet life. But we all know what's gonna happen. This is an action movie where the main character knows a foundational martial art for Bruce Lee. His quiet, peaceful life doesn't stay as peaceful as he'd like it to be. One day, while delivering some products, Master Z spots 2 women being harassed by some gangsters. If you've ever watched any piece of media where some attractive women are being harassed and our main character is, a dude who's good at fighting, you probably think you know where this is already going. But you're actually half right and half wrong. The two women are named Nana and Julia, and they're pretty close friends. Nana, unfortunately, is a heavy drug user, and the men approaching her are part of a gang that are demanding that she pay up for the drugs that she's used. Julia is her friend who's trying to get her out of this situation, and inevitably, a fight breaks out. However, Julia starts taking dudes down. Legit, she just starts mowing dudes down left and right. But there's also a lot of guys and a lot of stuff going down, so she starts struggling, and eventually, Master Z comes in for the save. After this, the plot sets itself off. The main bad guys of the movie are the gang itself and the drug trade, with the main bad guy being played by, of all people, Batista. The main events of this movie are Master Z's house gets burned down by the gang, Julia introduces him to her brother who owns a bar, so that he could work there after his home and business were burned down. As a favor, Master Z begins to live with Julia and Nana because, his house is gone. Nana is then found and killed by the gang after they force her to overdose on drugs. They had just at this point had enough with her. Master Z begins his hunt for the gang and starts taking down key members. Julia's brother and Master Z's boss is framed by the gang for drug possession in cooperation with the British police. Master Z then finds out who's controlling the drug trade and figures out that they're in cahoots with the corrupt police. Master Z and Julia have this sort of will they won't they thing going on. And by the end of the movie, Master Z gives Julia his son to watch over, and then he goes into the final battle against Batista. After this battle, Batista is killed by some unknown assassin, and the corrupt police officers are arrested by the Chinese police on suspicion of corruption. There you go, I basically saved you an hour and 47 minutes. You're welcome. So, there's one big problem I have with this movie. I want you to think about all the main events I just laid out to you, and who they're mainly affecting. Have you figured out my problem with this movie yet? I think this movie has, the wrong main character. Most of the big events happening to the cast affect Julia the most. It's her friend who gets attacked and killed by the gang. It's her brother who gets framed by the gang. Master Z does get attacked by the gang and his house and business do burn down, but then he's given a job by Julia and meets her brother who owns the bar. So when he's framed, it's treated like the good friend of the main character was framed, but this is Julia's brother too. If Julia was like any other generic female love interest who just existed in the background, I wouldn't be cool with that, but I'd be more understanding on why she doesn't ever try to do anything. Julia, like Master Z, also knows martial arts. She's also a great fighter, in fact. I'm sad that she's just watching the people she loves being attacked and killed, and she just does nothing. And Master Z is the one who has to solve everything. If this movie was reversed and Julia is the one protecting Master Z and his son, I feel like this would work so much better. Someone might argue that maybe Julia's martial arts just aren't good enough for the threats at hand. To that I would say, well then, give Master Z a teaching role. Master Z teaching Julia how to improve her martial arts, I think would give him a good arc. Look, I'm no screenwriter, I'm no Will Campos from the Dungeons and Daddies podcast, but if Master Z had given up martial arts because he'd saw the error of his ways in Ip Man 3, and then taught Julia how to improve her martial arts to defend herself and the ones that she loved, I think this would have worked. Understanding that he used martial arts for vain and egotistical purposes before, and teaching others the value of protecting the things they love. That would have been my ultimate ideal. But if they had given her a more proactive role as a martial artist, I would have been happy too. But in the end, she's a generic love interest who also does martial arts for Master Z. Genuinely, I feel like Julia's potential has just been wasted in this movie. It reminds me that Julia's just a movie character. With the mainline Ip Man series, every character has motivations. They feel like real people who could exist in the real world. But in the case of Julia, it makes me feel like she exists solely for this movie as a love interest, not as an independent person with goals and interests and hobbies that reside outside of Master Z and the plot at hand. She, unfortunately, feels more like a movie character than a real person, which is really unfortunate because I felt like she could have been such a cool character. But unfortunately, she's relegated to the spot of love interest. Despite everything I've said so far, I did enjoy the Master Z movie. It's not as good as any of the other Ip Man movies, but it does have great fight scenes and a good heart. The plot and characters feel like they exist solely for the plot, rather than people who just exist in the world, which is unfortunate. But the Master Z spin-off movie was not something I regret. I enjoyed the movie, but I just had one big problem with it. Aside from that one problem, it's a perfectly serviceable movie. Like, there's some really cheesy moments that Master Z has with his son. Like, they have this weird ritual they do where they press their thumbs against each other. It's super dumb and cheesy, but I also think it adds to this movie's charm. The only reason I'll cut Master Z some slack is, well, his son in the movie is a big fan of Batman, so maybe he's trying to be like Batman for his son's sake. Master Z's interactions with his son are very cute and lend this movie a lot of heart. I think this movie would have lost a lot if Master Z's son just wasn't in it. I think the biggest downfall of this movie is something that the Ip Man mainline movies do really well. Like I said before, Ip Man, like Superman, feels like a hero because of his humanity. In any situation, Ip Man doesn't want to fight. Sure, he's down to spar with a friend, but fighting as a means to solve problems isn't what he wants. I feel it's the same for Superman. Despite being able to pull the whole solar system using a chain or whatever, I think Superman would rather solve a problem without anyone getting hurt. I think it's the aversion to physical conflict, despite how good they are at it, that makes them heroes. Solving problems in a way where everyone can benefit and no one gets hurt is the best solution. Master Z, on the other hand, goes out of his way to find and get the bad guys in the movie. He's actively creating scenarios in which he fights. Not that it's not unwarranted, they tried to burn down his house and hurt his son. My main point is that Ip Man, in Ip Man 1, when the Japanese take over Ip Man's hometown of Foshan, leaving him and everyone he knows, including his pregnant wife and son, starving and homeless, Ip Man never goes out to pick a fight. He has to be put in a situation where either he fights or people die. Meanwhile, Master Z actively seeks out the bad guys. Ip Man, like Superman, is a hero, a paragon of truth, justice, kindness, and strength. Meanwhile, Master Z is a human. He's fueled by things like rage and love. By making Ip Man a paragon, every other character becomes human in comparison. But for Master Z, making him human makes everybody else become 2D. I do enjoy this movie, it's just I feel like it would have flowed a lot better if Julia was the main character instead. Especially since the martial art that Master Z and Ip Man practice, Wing Chun, was created by a woman. Julia's character was set up so well to be a main character, but they did absolutely nothing with it. That's not to say that what we do have isn't good or worthwhile. Like all the other Ip Man movies, I've watched this movie more than once and even shown it to friends. I do think it has value despite its flaws. As someone smarter than me once said, it's both possible and even necessary to simultaneously enjoy media while also being critical of its more problematic or pernicious aspects. Would I ever recommend this movie? As a popcorn action movie, sure. If you want something more deep and also with beautiful action, I'd recommend the mainline Ip Man movies 1,000 times more. And finally, I want to say thank you to all the people who've supported my videos and left really nice comments. Thank you all. Putting yourself out there is honestly nerve-wracking. Not that I don't enjoy making videos, of course, but seeing all the nice people who've been saying really nice things about my videos honestly makes it worth doing. You all are fantastic. Literally, thank you so much. And if you made it this far into the video and you like what you saw, why not subscribe and hit the bell? If you like this, then you'll be notified when I upload similar content. You can always take it back. It's a win-win situation. Also, while you're there, check out my other content. Thank you for everything. Seriously. And see you all next video.